my friends. Welcome to day number 14, last day before we do the reassessment of our stretching for flexibility challenge. So, hope that you've found some good stretches and you're already feeling more limber because that's the point, right? Today we're going to be focusing on hip flexors and inner thighs from a seated and standing position. I'm going to be showing you three different variations on how you can stretch your hip flexors. So if one of these is perfect, then you don't even have to worry about the other two. I'm going to show you different variations though, so that you can get a feel and see what works best for you. With that being said, we do need to do just a little bit of a warm up to get the blood flowing through those muscles. So let's do that first. Okay, let's do that little kick across. Even though it's mostly for glutes and outer hip area, your inner thighs do have to do a little bit of activation. So let's go there, back tall, abs engaged, and you'll have to let me know how it's been going for you and if you've noticed any improvement in your range of motion. I hope that tomorrow when we do the reassessment, you will notice that change, even if it's something small. Let's go heel tap. I'll stretch through those inner thighs just a little bit, but hopefully it's been good for you. And now we're going to go to a little bit more inner thigh. So lay feet wide stance. We'll just go side to side here. Doesn't have to be super deep, but it's just wanting to wake up those muscles a little bit with this dynamic stretching. Good. And good job being consistent. I'm curious, what was your most tight muscle that you found? Or maybe a couple muscles that you found, right? All right, now we're going to go to a quad stretch just to get a little bit. If you really squeeze your glutes, push those hips forward, you'll get a little bit of a warm up through those hip flexors in a different part. Good, good, good. And here's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Okay, so big reach really fast. Little arch, and that'll get your hip flexors too. So good. You ready? We're going to jump right into it. Starting with your inner thighs first. So on that chair, we're going to sit more toward the edge of the chair. And we did something similar to this in the assessment on day number 1. But now we're going to use it as a good stretch, okay? So those feet are going to be wider and back nice and tall. You're just going to lean forward. And I want you to lean enough that you feel some inner thigh. So if you're like, I don't feel anything, drive your elbows into the inside of those inner thighs or inside your knees, and then lean forward, and it should be a really nice stretch for you. Okay, so we're gonna hang here for a minute. Okay, here we go. Just driving those elbows into the inside of those knees. Feet are wider, so you want them those toes turned out, and then just lean forward, getting a nice stretch in those inner thighs. That's nice or what? So those inner thighs, if they're tight, they can even pull on the lower back just a little bit. Whole inner thighs / hip flexor, psoas, they all affect that lower back too. So it's why it's good to keep them stretched. Even helps with your walking and your balance. So you're doing good here. Oh my goodness, you only have 15 seconds left. That was so fast. Almost done. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Okay, cool. Now, what it's going to be, let me turn my chair a little bit more here. So you're going to sit on the edge, extend your right leg out from the side. Okay, and this is going to be a little bit higher. Well, everybody is a little tighter in different spots, so I don't know. You decide, but that right leg is extended in a comfortable position. So you don't want to be trying to reach it so far out that it hurts your hip. Go to a comfortable position. And then all you're going to do is just lean forward. So bracing your left elbow on your left knee, and then just sinking forward, and it should be a nice stretch in that adductor. So you have 6 muscles that are a part of that inner thigh. So that's why we're stretching this a little bit differently. Can get a little bit deeper. That right foot needs to be as flat as you can get it. So you don't want it to be turned out, because then it puts too much pressure on your hips. So try to plant your foot and before you even go into that lean. So you have 15 seconds left here. Hey, hey. And here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. If you want to go all the way down, put those hands on the floor, you can. And done. Okay, now we got to do that left leg. Ready? So stick left leg out, plant that left foot. Can be right elbow on right knee if you want, or if you want to go to the floor with those arms, you can. But here we go. 1 minute. Just trying to get the inner thigh on that left side here. Is this your new favorite stretch too? Yeah, tell me, did you learn some new stretches, or did you know all of the stretches that we've been doing? And if you're doing them at work, let me know how it's working out for you. If your coworkers have joined you, or if you have stretching parties every day now. Okay, you have 20 seconds left, because stretching could be a party, especially when you do it with friends, right? Almost done. Here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Okay, so those are the 2 for your inner thighs. I'll turn my timer off here. Let's go to hip flexor next. From a standing position. I explained in yesterday's video, but in case you're not doing those, I want to explain to you here why it's so important to stretch those hip flexors. Your hip flexors are meant to be this long when you're in a standing position. That's how long they are supposed to be. But when we sit, they become shortened. And if you sit for long periods of time, they start pulling, like you have a psoas that attaches into your lower back, and it all starts pulling, and it can pull your lower back into either rounding or extension, most likely extension, and that puts a lot of pressure on that lower back. So that's why it's so important to keep those hip flexors stretched out. The first stretch I'm going to show you is with your chair, and this is the easiest of them all because you don't have to worry about staying balanced, and it's not too deep of a stretch. If you want to grab a pillow to put your knee on the chair, you can, but all you're going to do is just put a knee on the chair and step forward, and then push your hips forward. That's it. You should feel a nice stretch in that hip flexor on that right side. So let's hang out here for 30 seconds, and then we're going to add a little change to it. So shoulders are over hips, abs are engaged. So if you need to squeeze that right glute to try to push that hip forward a little bit more, please do. But hopefully you're feeling a stretch. If you don't feel the stretch, just take a bigger step forward. Okay? So back is tall, shoulders over hips right now. Now what we're going to do is add a little lean to the left and take your right arm overhead, and that'll get a deeper stretch in that hip flexor on that right side. So we'll stay here for 30 seconds. If this is too much, like you want to just do a lean without an arm, you can do that. Whatever feels most comfortable to you, but just keep that hip pushed forward, please, so you get a good stretch in that hip flexor. You have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Cool. Let's go to the other side. Your hip flexors are going to be so stretched out after you're done with this. Okay, planting that left knee, step forward with that right foot, push those hips forward, and then just making sure you're squeezing that left glute to push that hip forward, shoulders over hips, and we'll just hang out here. So easy. We're going to add that lean with the arm, if you want to add the arm, in 10 more seconds. And we'll finish the rest of the minute out in that leaning position. Okay, so here's 4, 3, 2. Okay, now we're going to push the hip forward, lean to the right, take that left arm overhead. Hopefully you're feeling a good stretch, maybe in that outer part of your hip flexor. It could be out here in your TFL, and that's okay too. That muscle always needs stretching, as long as it's not hurting your lower back. Okay. So you have 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Okay, great. So that's one option to stretch your hip flexors. Second option, let's use your chair. It's going to require a little bit more balance. If you want to move it to a wall, you can. You don't have to. Okay, so we're going to put your left foot on top of the chair, stepping back a little bit with your right foot, and then you're just going to do a little lean, pushing that hip forward. So going to be a deeper stretch. This is going to be much deeper than the kneeling hip flexor stretch. So we're going to stay here for 30 seconds, and then I'm going to show you that extra stretch that you can get. So shoulders over hips right now. Pull that belly button into your spine, and hopefully, if your calf is tight here and you're feeling a calf stretch, then you definitely need to go and keep stretching those calves, okay? Because this is supposed to be a hip flexor stretch. Okay, now we're going to raise that right arm. If you want to add a little lean, you can. You don't have to. You can just stay here with the shoulders over hips rather than the tiny little lean to the left. But it just gets a little bit deeper. When you add that extra reach, it gets a little bit deeper into that hip flexor. Okay, you have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Cool. All right, ready to go to that second side? So let's plant that right foot on the chair. A little step back with that left. I'm going to push those hips forward. We're going to hang out here. Shoulders over hips. Should be a nice little stretch in the hip flexor. So this is a little bit deeper stretch than the bent knee. Hopefully you feel the difference. But your back is tall, shoulders are not rounded. And we're going to switch to that little lean in about 10 seconds with that arm overhead if you want. But hopefully you're getting a really good stretch. Maybe even a tiny bit of inner thigh. That's possible on this one because of how much you're pushing the hip forward. Raising that left arm, lean to the right a little bit if you want to, but you're still keeping the shoulders tall. So we're not here. We've got to push that hip forward. Feels good, eh? All right, here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Okay, one more hip flexor. You have a choice of what you'd like to do, and this is the one that's most balanced challenge here. You do not need a chair. We're going to start with that right. And all you're going to do is it's very similar to the calf stretch that we did. So it's just you're not going as far back with that foot. The farther you go back with the foot, the more the calf stretches. Here, it's not such a big stance, but you are going to push your hip forward, and then we'll raise that arm 30 seconds in, okay? So push that hip forward, shoulders over hips, belly button to the spine. This is an even deeper stretch potentially than the chair, but it also is more of a balance challenge. So you get to choose which hip flexor stretch you like the most, or if there's a couple that you like, you can log that. The wider your stance, the more balance you'll have. Okay, now let's raise that right arm, lean to the left just a little bit. So it's not a huge lean here. We're working the hip flexor. The more you lean, the more it'll go into your oblique. So we want to keep those shoulders tall, just a tiny little lean, and that'll get a different part of your hip flexor. You don't have to have that arm overhead. Okay, here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Cool. Okay, ready for that hip flexor. Now your hip flexors are extra stretched out, right? Third exercise we're doing here. Let's go to that left side. Staggered stance, the wider the feet, the more balance you're going to have. Pushing that heel into the floor, push those hips forward, shoulders over hips, abs engaged. So much to remember. And don't fall over, right? You're doing good. We'll raise that arm and do the little lean in 10 seconds. But hopefully you're feeling how your hip flexor release a little bit with all this stretch. Okay, here we go. So we're going to raise that left arm and just lean to the right a tiny little bit, keeping that hip push forward. Great job. And if your calf is yelling at you now because it's getting more of a stretch than your hip flexor, then that will tell you a lot that you need to stretch your calves. Here's 4, 3, 2, and done. Okay, cool. Woohoo! So it was a little bit shorter today in terms of stretching, and you might need a lower back stretch, right? Because sometimes that back goes into an extension. So let's grab that chair. We're going to do a quick lower back stretch. We'll just sit comfortably with those toes facing forward and lean forward in your chair to get a little lower back stretch if you need it from the hip flexor work we just did. Okay. There we go, my friends. Good job. High five. Tomorrow is the assessment. If you don't feel like you're ready for the assessment and you still have a lot more work to do, then that's okay. Go back and keep stretching till you feel like you're ready for the assessment. And then you can really see the progress and improvements that you've made, because that's really what it's all about. It's nice to follow a program, but what's more important, following the days or feeling better and getting the benefit? And the whole reason you're doing the program is to get more flexible, better balance, feel better, better posture, all of that. So let's just reevaluate those objectives. If you want to do the assessment tomorrow, you can. You can wait and continue stretching and then do the assessment and feel really good about yourself. I'll leave it up to you. With that, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you at the next workout.